Hey there, welcome to my another video on Bootstrap. Today I'm going to discuss a few topics in Bootstrap which are as is. These topics I'm gonna discuss now, and I'm gonna use this project folder. I have already set up all the links that we need for Bootstrap, like the CSS and the script files. And let's get started. The first one says create responsive navbars using nav tag and also fixed at the top. Let me show you in the documentation about navbars. In components, I'm gonna go to navbar. This navbar looks just like this. When I expand the page, all the links are visible in the navbar. When I collapse the page, they become into a button, collapse button, hamburger menu. When I click on this menu, it shows the links in the navbar. We are gonna achieve this one just like this. So I'm gonna create a div with container class. Inside this, I'm gonna use the nav tag with class navbar and navbar expand, so that when we expand more than large, it's gonna show us our menus. And also I'm gonna use navbar light. How it appears, it uses the light background, just like this. Okay, after creating the nav tag, inside the nav tag I'm gonna put the brand. Just like here, it uses the navbar brand with navbar. So I'm gonna create this using a. Okay, href will be hash for now, and the classes I'm gonna use here will be navbar brand with, let me say, brand here. After that, we need a button to toggle this button right here. We're gonna put that as button class as navbar toggler, just like that. And its type gonna be button, and also we are gonna specify data toggle as collapse, and also we need to specify data target. This will take the ID name of our collapse menu. So let me say nav ID as our ID, and we have to specify the icon, right? So it's gonna be span with class navbar toggler icon. That's gonna be our icon inside that's the span, that's specified in the span tag inside this button. And now we are gonna specify the menu inside a div with class collapse and navbar collapse, just like that. And we have to specify the ID that we gave in the button, that is going to be ID. Oh, I forgot to specify hash here. Gotta put the hash, that's really important. Nav ID, that's gonna be our unordered list. There are few ways where we don't need to use. There is other way where we don't need to use the unordered list. We can just use the a tags, specifying a div with navbar nav. Let me show you that. Okay, yeah, it's right here. So we are gonna use navbar nav without EUL, unordered list. Let me follow that. So I'm gonna say div class as navbar nav. Inside this div I'm gonna put a tag with the class nav link. The first one is the active one, so I'm gonna use active class, and it's gonna take some href as hash, and let's give some names like home. Let me copy this a tag, and we are gonna take off active. This gonna be link 1, and okay, you gotta come back. The next one is gonna be, let's take off this active here too, link 2. Okay, here we have our nav tag. Let me open this, refresh. There you go, we have our brand with the collapse button. When I expand this, we have our links in the navbar. That's how we achieve navbar with nav tag. Also, we need to specify fixed at the top. There is also a way to do that. Let me show you here. We need to use a class called fixed top on the nav tag. It should be somewhere here. See, fixed top. Okay, let me put that on this container. Fixed top, so it's gonna be fixed. We can see that when we can scroll. I can show you that later. So it's gonna be fixed on the top. Let's go to our second criteria. It says build navs from scratch with tabs and pills. So to build navs with tabs and pills, I'm gonna go to navs. Navs, tabs and pills looks just like this. The tabs, the active gets activated like this. It's gonna go like that, and pills, it shows like a button. Let's do this. It's gonna use now pills class, and this is gonna use now tabs class. Okay, for this, inside the container, I'm gonna say, okay, let's do it outside the container. Let's create one more container. Here class equal to container. Inside this, we are gonna say ul class equals nav tabs nav tabs takes li with the class nav item. This nav item now takes a links to nothing with the class nav link, and the first one will be active, so I'm gonna give active class, say link active link. I'm gonna copy the same pattern couple times, and I'm gonna take off active from both, and then say link 1 maybe, and this will be link 2. Let's see how this one goes. Let's refresh. We can't see anything because we used fixed top, so it went behind our navbar. Okay, I removed. So there you go. We have our tabs. This is how the nav tabs looks like, and now I'm gonna change nav tabs to nav pills, and the tabs will be changed to like button. There you go. That's how we achieve nav pills and nav tabs. Okay, display content in a modal. Modal is nothing but a window. No, it's not a window. It's like a dialog box opens when we click on a button. You usually see that for alerts. It's just like alert, but it's a dialog box. Let's see how it looks. Here we are going to modal. Okay, here is modal. Modal looks just like this, and the usage, the demo, they gave a demo here. When we click on the button, it's gonna open the modal with the title and all the text, and with buttons to close and save changes. We are gonna achieve this using modal, just like this. First we need a button which opens a modal with a target which takes the modal's ID here. Okay, let's do that. Under our nav, I'm gonna create a button, type equal to button, and it's gonna take classes like button info. Let's put info, and also it's gonna take data toggle to modal, and data target will be our modal ID. Inside this button we are gonna say open modal. So when we click this button, we're gonna create a div with the class modal. We can also put some animations which they used fade here, but I'm not gonna use now. our modal ID. They use tab index -1 so that it cannot be reached with keyboard tab. And that's it. Inside this modal I'm gonna say class equal to modal dialog. It's a dialog box, and this dialog box has content. Class equal to modal content. This content has a header and body and footer, so it's gonna take header and class body, modal header, sorry, and modal body and footer, modal footer class. Okay, in the header it says modal header. In the body it says modal body. Let me change to caps. And footer can take a few buttons, like it said cancel, and I also forgot, in the header we should have a close button with a X symbol, right? So for that I'm gonna say this is gonna be our title. So this is h1. Inside h1 I'm gonna say class equal to modal title, as this is the title. Something happened. This became like sorry. So okay, that's our header, and also we need to put a button like the X. For that I'm gonna say button with class close. Okay, so data dismiss will be modal. It's gonna dismiss the modal, and also button type will be button. Okay, I think we got to specify span with the with ampersand. Where is ampersand? There you go. Got it. Let's see if this is working. And also footer, I need to put buttons like close to close. Data dismiss will be modal, and class will be btn info. It's not info, maybe danger. when I click open modal, okay, it's not connected. Something should be wrong. I have my modal ID here. Did not put hash. And there is no hash. It's not gonna connect. There you go. That is our modal header, modal body, and the close. That is what modal is. Let's see what's our next one here. It says cards to display groups of contents. Let me show you how a card looks like. You should be familiar. It takes an image and then title, some data, and a button to link to that page or something. And we can have multiple of those in a page. So let's create a card. For that, we are gonna take a div tag with class card. They also specified width for the card. You can also do that. Let's see how it shows without the style. It's gonna take image, source, blah blah blah. It says card, image, top, and we are using image on the top. And we are gonna take a div tag for the card body, the class card body. Inside that we are gonna specify title. Our h1, let's take h1 class equal to card title. This is my title. And then body, it's gonna be text, right? So in the p tag with the class card body, some blah blah blah. And a button to go somewhere. So class will be btn info and say link. Let's see how our without the width, inline width, let's see how it looks. It took all the container for that. If I put style width some 20 for it. Okay, took the 20 right. If we put some image, it's gonna show image here. I have no image right now, so that's how it looks. Okay, let's find. We can also put multiple cards in a page. We can use row column for that. That's how card looks. And use list groups to display list of items. Let's see how we can do that. Here got to select list group, showing everything in a list form. It uses ul list group and list group item. It's very straightforward. Let's do that. ul dot list group creates a ul with class list group, and li dot list group item creates li with list group item list 1. That's a list 1. And then I'm gonna copy this a couple times, more than that. Okay, I'm gonna say 2, 3, 4 and 5, and let's look at this. Created a list. What if I say bg dark? No, it did not take bg dark. What if I put, okay, what if I put bg dark here? There you go. But dark. Okay. This is our list group. Let's see what's next. Okay, use a theme to change the style of an entire site at once. This one I'm gonna talk at the end, and also include Bootstrap icons like font awesome icons. These two criteria I'm gonna talk at the end. Now let's gonna build responsive forms with all HTML input types. This is gonna take some time, but let's start with that, with forms. Okay, here let's go to forms. Maybe it's in the content or utilities. Should be somewhere. Let me search for it. Forms. There you go. They created email address, password, input types. Okay, for forms, I'm just checking if they have used all. Yeah, they have range inputs, they have checkboxes and radios, and also those are all. These are form, how to group the form. Okay. Okay. Let me expand this page so that I can show you what forms I'm gonna use. Range inputs and checkboxes and radios. And this is the select menu. We're gonna select assign them. Range, gonna select a range. Okay, let's do this. Okay, for this we are gonna use the form tag. Inside the form tag, gonna create a div with class form group. This form group, first let's create like this. Like this, email address and password and a button. After that I'm gonna go to range and checkbox and radius, all those things. So we have form group div. Inside that we are gonna have label for email. So this is for email. And the input will be type email class will be form control with ID as email. That's the email ID. Let's match for and ID. Yeah, that's it. And then inside this input, after this input, we're gonna have one more form group for password. We're gonna create a class as form group. And it's gonna take just like label. I'm gonna say password ID, and the ID here will be ID and password form control. Okay. And I'm also gonna create a checkbox. To create a checkbox outside this form group, I'm gonna create one more form group with form check for checkbox. So input with the class form check input, type equal to checkbox. Input type equal to checkbox, and class ID will be form check. You can put any ID, check ID. So ID is check ID. it's a checkbox, the box for the checkbox, and we got to give it some label for check ID class equal to form check label. So tick me. Let's see what we got here. So we have a email, password, inputs, and tick me checkbox. Let's put all this in a container. Div class equal to container. And also let me separate with HR. Okay, there's the separation. Here is our form. Now we can scroll our page. If I use fixed top for this, it should be fixed at the top. Let me show you that real quick. See, it's fixed on the top. Okay, I'll leave it there for now, and let's get into our form again. And we have created a checkbox. Let's also create a radio button. Let's go to radio here. It's quicker if I do this. Okay, here is our radio button. Okay. Check type radio. Got to just change that. Let's do that. We resize this. And inside our form, I'm gonna create a div with class form group. Inside this form group, actually it is form check. Inside that, I'm gonna take input class equals form check input, type as radio, and name will be my radio, and it takes ID and value, and it also use the checked here, so by default it will be checked. So let's give some ID as radio ID. Sorry for the train sound. Value will be my radio 1 and checked. So that's the input. Now we have to create a label for that. Label class equal check label. That's our class fur. We need to use fur to specify ID. Radio ID, and it displays as radio 1. Okay, now let's also create one more radio button. Let's give this radio ID 1 and radio ID 2. Okay, radio ID 1, 1. Okay, it's not coming. I'm gonna paste the radio ID 2 and radio ID 2, and it goes 2 here. Value is radio 2, and we have to remove the checked for this. Okay, here goes our radio and radio 1, radio 2 got on top of each other because we did not put form check for the second one. So it's gonna be form check class. We gotta close that div right before this div. There you go. We have our radio 1, radio 2, but they are stacked because okay, we did a mistake. Control X, like just like that. Okay, there is our radio. And why it got on top of each other? This is the div. Okay, the label, it has to be after label. Okay, now you understand why not to make mistake. Okay, that's our radio, and now let's go to our range. It also takes form group with label. The same ID has to be given here. It takes class form control range. Let's create that with the div form group. Inside the form group, I'm gonna put an input for range. Input type equal to range, and it's gonna take class form input range, and it has ID as range ID. It can also take values, I guess. Let's see label for range ID. That's it. My range. That's our range inside our div. look at range here. As you can see, it has a label and type range, and we can also specify min and max just like this. If I say min and max as like this inside our input, see what happens. It uses the values 0 to 5. We can also use a step, so whenever we increase, it increases by 0.5. That is about range. And let's go to select menu. It takes select and options. Okay, we are not going into validation now. Let's see how we can put select. This is for large, small, just like that. Let's build this. I'm gonna say select, class will be custom select. Inside the select we have option. First one is selected. Open me. The next one will be option value as 1, and we can write link 1. Two, 3, 4, just like that. So 2, 3, 4. Let's look at it. We open this, it's gonna open up because there is no place down below, so it's gonna open there. So if I change this is select, sorry, from here to top of the form, starting with the form. Let's see how it looks now. So we have open me, it's gonna open down. That's our select. I think I have covered all forms, responsive forms with HTML input types. Okay, now we need to build carousel and tooltips. These are going to be big, and for this I'm gonna continue in next video. See you in the next video.